Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. r/ask Reddit by Planet Reddit. What is the stupidest thing you've done just to show you could do it? Cliff diving. Saw old man do a front flip off a 40-foot cliff. I said if he can do it, so can I. I did the flip alright, followed by a belly flop that Zeus could hear. Knocked the air out of me, but luckily people were floating nearby to save my dumb behind. I bruised my behind by jumping off a similar height rock and landing in a seated position. How was that enema? I've literally never told anyone this except the doctor at the hospital, but that happened to me too. I got thrown off a jet ski at 70 miles per hour and hit the water behind first and then smacked my head. Shit my pants. Sprained my neck. Had a concussion and sprained a shoulder. 0/10 do not recommend edit. Wow guys, thanks for the award. I'm glad that my poopy jet ski story made so many people laugh. I'm okay now. Just have a few issues with my shoulder and will never get on a jet ski again, lol. In 2001, my sister got me a Sony phone. A tiny little thing with a flip down front. She worked in a phone shop and got discount on the box. It said the phone was waterproof and there were tiny rubber seals in places. I believed them. At the pub where I worked, this aspect came up in conversation. Some guy said the phone couldn't be waterproof, and that showerproof was probably more accurate. Remembering the box, I argued the point and dropped my phone into a pint of beer in an effort to prove it. I was wrong. Brutal but well earned life lesson. OMG, my friend did something similar at a bar years ago. She had a case called Life Proof and she swore it made her phone indestructible. So she picked it up, slammed it on the table, and shouted Life Proof. When she lifted it up, her entire screen was shattered. Yep, mine just fizzled out and died. Wounded. Back to my old Nokia in those days. Nokia S will outlive us all. Walked through the brush of our tree line to get a football to prove it wasn't poison ivy. I did it. I got the football. It was poison ivy. I once did something similar, but it turns out I'm immune to poison ivy. The rest of my friends, not so much. Fun fact, poison ivy in humans is like chocolate for dogs. It only affects 40-60% of things. With chocolate for dogs, it affects enough of them to just avoid all dogs from all chocolates just to be safe. With poison ivy in humans, only a certain percent get the effects. However, just because you don't get the effects the first time, such as itchiness and rashes, you can easily get them the second or third, etc. You can handle poison ivy 20 times thinking you're immune. Then all of a sudden the 21st time hits you like a brick. Like chocolate for dogs. Even if you think you're okay, it's still best to just avoid. Like dogs and grapes. Just had to get my dumbest Chihuahua Shih Tzu stomach evacuated at an emergency vet. Then she came out black from the charcoal they tried to give her to soak up the toxins. You know, just in case she is in the percentage of dogs that a grape can kill. Came home and ran around with my other dogs like nothing ever happened. TLDR. Grapes may, or may not be, poison to dogs and cats. Pick the odds and may they forever be in your favor. Won a donut eating contest. In 10 minutes I ate about 17 donuts, and seconds before the time was up and I had all my thoughts set on having a hearty cleansing puke, a motherfucker who wasn't even taking part yelled that throwing up afterwards should disqualify you. Somebody counted that I took in a few days worth of calories. My appetite came back 2 days after. A motherfucker who wasn't even taking part yelled that throwing up afterwards should disqualify you. Ridiculous. You ate the most donuts in the allotted time frame. Everything after that doesn't matter. Yeah, it should only be if you throw up during the event are you disqualified. Edit. To all the comments about eating their own throw up, I was only considering someone not doing that as I couldn't do that myself. But I agree. IDK. My son was in a pie eating contest a few years back, and he was neck and neck with the girl next to him about halfway through the pie before she threw it up on the table in front of her. Did that stop her though? Nope. She quickly ate her puke, finished the pie, and still took first place. Even typing this, I gagged at that memory. We all agreed though, she 100% deserved that win. Jumped illegally over the China-Myanmar border, and back again. Edit. Well, this blew up. This was in 2002. I was in China legally, in the town of Ruli, Yunnan province. Across a small stream and two thin strings of barbed wire was the city of Marseille, White Elephant City, Myanmar, which was closed to foreigners at the time. A group of opium addicts were smoking in the thick bushes growing near the border and invited me over for a chat. I saw no border guards were within line of sight of me, so I did. We had an interesting chat in a mixture of English and Chinese. Later I wandered into the closest narrow street lined with dilapidated white wooden buildings, with bearded men in sarongs wandering around. I bought a Burmese noodle dish. No alcohol available in that state. Then I hightailed it back to the same crossing spot and over. About 90 minutes after I first went over. Really, China is, or at least was, a lawless borderland, with all the vices that lawless border towns typically attract. My crossing was the least of the local authorities' worries. I wouldn't repeat it or recommend it to anyone, though. Lucky you're not rotting away in an asti behind prison cell. Hey, they wouldn't let him rot away unless there was something fundamentally wrong with his organs. Some people I met did the same thing on the China-Vietnam border but with their motorbikes. It ended relatively well. They were bussed back to the border by the Chinese police. Unfortunately they had to go through the embassy to get the bikes back. I do not know what ended up happening with them, though. Edit. This is the spot. After the polls it's China. Parents put a curfew on the computer when I was 12 during summer break. No gaming from 10 PM to 6 AM. A reasonable person would go to bed at 10:30 and wake up at 7 to play, right? 12-year-old me just stayed up until 6 AM. Woke up my parents and played until noon. Then died until dinner. Rinse and repeat for a few days until my parents got sick of waking up at 6 AM. Then I went back to gaming until like 2 AM. That's one way to solve the problem, haha. True, but only worked because my parents gave in. If they stuck to their guns my gaming time would have shrank since I was only gaming like 6 hours a day with that 8-hour dead period. Your sleep schedule would also get really yucked up. I, at age like 9-10, wanted a cookie that my friend had. Said friend proceeded to completely lick the entire cookie. Still want it? He said holding it out. Dumbus me proceeded to grab it and eat it in one bite. Total power move looking back on it. Gotta be hand at your dominance. Ultra DICK energy. Meanwhile he too sees it as a power move and still tells people the story to this day of the most hardcore kid he ever met who took a cookie from him after he licked it while he stared in shock and awe at the brass of this man in child's clothing before him. When I was 6 I stapled my fingers because I had convinced all of my friends that I had iron hands. I was around that age too and I was fiddling around with a stapler and stapled my pointer fingers together. It was the skin just next to the nails so it barely hurt. I went downstairs to tell my mom who was doing laundry that I stapled my fingers together. I still remember the look on her face to this day. Edit. Then again that was yesterday so of course I remember s. Since grade 6, I've stapled my thumb at least once a year. I stapled my thumb the first time because I wanted to demonstrate to my friends how a classmate stapled his thumb, and since then I've stapled my thumb while showing various people how I stapled my thumb the first time. I did the same thing a couple of years ago at my old job. I was about 28 at the time. Was holding the top part of the stapler. The bottom was on the desk and for some reason, I leant on it, stapled my middle finger in front of a bunch of colleagues and customers. Felt like a right idiot. I proved to myself that it's possible to eat 5 kilos of shrimp in one sitting. I also proved that eating 5 kilos of shrimp in one sitting will make you very, very sick. Agreed. Red Lobster did all you can eat shrimp once and I considered it a challenge. I sat down and immediately asked my waitress what the most shrimp she had seen a person eat was. Oof, I work on a shrimp trawler so I get free shrimp and I took full advantage of that. See, thing is, these people are eating cooked shrimp. You didn't have to deal with all that garlic butter. I was about 4 years old and my grandfather was making something with buttermilk. I saw it in his hand. And I cried and screamed and begged to have some. He kept saying no, you won't like it, but I persisted. He finally poured me an entire glass. I took one swig and I'm sure he could see the disgust on my face, because he looked like he had one. I stared at him right in his eyeballs as I chugged the entire glass. Ha, my kids did this with Baker's chocolate. They, at the time 9 and 6, begged for a piece. They are it and I could see the disgust in their faces. But they had to be all alpha and be it's good, and then had another piece. Morons. I had eating chocolate in the pantry. Should have told them since they like it so much that's the only chocolate you'll buy for them from now on. Dad? When I was around 12, I was neglecting to flush my piss. Too busy playing Armored Core. So my dear mother brings me into the bathroom and tells me if I don't flush next time, she's going to dip my hands in the piss. I looked at her, made a hammer fist, smashed it in the toilet, covered myself in piss, only a little on her. Thank God, I wasn't even a malicious child, just salivated at the opportunity to show I could withstand the punishment and was thus unafraid. I could imagine a little 12-year-old thinking he's bad behind dripping with piss and his mom completely terrified of his immense power. OMG, I just LOL'd and woke up my fiance. Mine ain't whacking up. I told my 6th grade friends I could just off a 2-story roof and not get hurt. Guess who only got a scraped knee that day? Not me. I broke my leg. Parker people, on the other hand, can do a safety roll and be mostly unharmed aside from some mild pain. I wonder if they learned it from playing Ocarina of Time. Shoved my pointer finger into my nose up to 2nd knuckle. I then got a sinus infection. Who knew? My daughter did that to me when she was 2. Then she hooked her finger and pulled. Had a terrible blood nose and for a few days if I sneezed it would start back up. 0/10 would not recommend. I audibly gasped when I read this and I wish I hadn't read it at all. I did it in the shower while washing my face in a hurry. Accidentally jammed my pink pretty much as far as it would go up my nostril. It hurt like lightning had just struck my face. Then a drop of blood. Then another. Then drip. Drip. Drip 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 drip. Pretty sure I brained my damage that day. Played that stupid ucking 5-finger fillet game with a compass back when I was in school. As I got more confidence I obviously got faster and inevitably the point went right into the side of my fingertip. Ucking idiot. I played that stupid game at scout camp. I stopped after one of the younger scouts got too cocky because he could go faster than us older guys and sliced about 1 stroke 2 inch into the webbing between his fingers. I can still see the blood. I stabbed my leg with a pencil in elementary school. I told people I couldn't really feel much pain, which, at the time, was true. There was a spot on my leg from the lead for years. LOL. I still have a piece of graphite in my left hand from getting stabbed with a pencil 33 years ago. Edit. All you mad lads with a piece in your ucking eyeballs. Alright already, you win. I have a graphite pencil mark in my leg from grade 2. My lunch buddy stabbed me when I tried to kick him under the desk. I am 54 years old. I had a part of a thorn get stuck in the top of my middle finger that I could never get out but I could always see it underneath the layer of skin. I finally couldn't see it anymore about a year ago. Always wondered what my body did to it. Not me but one of my former co-workers told us about the time he ate a tub of butter on a dare. He made it about halfway through and had to throw up. He said what came out was neon yellow. For the next month, the smell of butter made him gag and when he perspired, he could still smell it. You'd think he'd learn but he attempted the butter tub challenge a 2nd time. This time, he paced himself and actually finished the whole thing. He said the yuck up though was eating it before having to catch a train. While he was waiting, his heart was racing and he felt so amped up. He did push-ups and jumping jacks at Penn Station. I don't even like the stuff. But a dare's a dare. That's rich coming from a croissant. Blurst motivational story. Ate the largest box of goldfish in one night in college. Don't do this. Oh my god, I thought this was talking about real goldfish. Yay. I totally just pictured Jonah Hill from Wolf of Wall Street scene. Also, I'm hella Hal Mayo. The one that looks like a huge milk carton. One friend gets super creeped up when someone starts running at him like a dog. My friend realized I'm an expert in running like a dog. I too will be creeped out. LOL. Join our community Discord. Link in description. Chugged way too much apple cider vinegar. Huge mistake. I regularly do apple cider vinegar shots. I get horrible heartburn. And tried every single ucking thing. Nothing helped. A few pages deep into Google and someone suggested ACV. At that point I had nothing left to lose. So down it went. Heartburn was gone 5 minutes later. Fucking amazing. Edit. This blew up overnight. 2 things to add. First, dilute it. Add water. Some people mentioned honey. And avoid it touching your teeth. Second, heartburn can also be caused by low acid production. This also had a host of other things associated with it. Nutrition reviewing acid neutralizers, calcium chews or the like. Do nothing for me or act like a band-aid. Heartburn is back a few hours later. Apple cider vinegar works for a few days to a few months for me. Please do dilute with water before swallowing though. Undiluted ACV is hell on your tooth enamel and the lining of your esophagus. I'm not familiar with the effects. What happened? Snuck into the Hilton and confiscated a white robe. Got caught and they let me go without checking my backpack. That's alcohol for you. Confiscated LOL. They don't deserve these robes. Imitate them back for the people. Surprised they didn't check it. Was it 100% genuine Turkish cotton like the legends speak of? As a kid I told my friends I could hold my breath for a long time. Long enough to pass out, in fact. And that's exactly what I proceeded to do. My friends and used to have those breathing contests in the pool where you'd go underwater and see who could hold in their breath the longest. I'm a really competitive person, so of course I won. I passed out in the pool when I was 9 doing this. The lifeguard was too busy flirting to care and he thought I was faking it. Edit. Typo. Holy shit. Did you survive? No. Was trying to do this stunt on a dirt bike to impress this dude. Ended up falling and breaking my collarbone. RIP. And then you guys got married, right? He's married now with kids, and well me, I am still single. I was learning MMA for 3 months when some guy challenged me to a fight. I immediately accepted it because I wanted to impress my crush by beating him. Turns out he was a national champion and was in the state for a MMA tournament. I got my behind kicked for solid 3 rounds. At least you made it 3 rounds. Why on earth would a national champion behind kicker challenge somebody who has been training for 3 months? What did you do to this guy to upset him? Something similar happened in my sister's gym. She was practice fighting and this newer guy would constantly go as hard as he could like he was trying to do real damage in practice. He got called out on it. He started arguing. Then a trainer/pro fighter immediately put him in his place. I think he said something along the lines of, if you wanna go hard we can go hard. Put a cigarette out on my arm Logan style. X-Men. Because some dudes in my class didn't believe me when I told them I don't feel much pain in the arms. I still don't, but got a real bad infection. The beating of a lifetime from my mom. First and last beating I ever got. Just for my stupidity. And the scar on my arm is, luckily, not big but kind of ugly. Edit. Even if I swore to never edit something because of this, I simply have to. I can't believe my first post with more than 5 upvotes is about my stupidity. But I'm glad to read. I wasn't the only one stupid enough to do something like this. The difference is Logan from X-Men has a healing factor. So do I, it's just slower. Did 5 pull-ups on an antenna strut 400 feet up on an antenna tower not tied off. Reading this gave me anxiety. I have an almost unnatural fear of heights. I firmly believe that not being afraid of heights is unnatural. Try having the issue of wanting to jump. It's really weird. The closer you get to the edge, the stronger the urge gets to jump. Forget the name for it, but it's a real thing and there are dozens of us. Actually, that is what got me into diving as a youth. Got to scratch that itch and actually jump. Let someone shock my wrist with a dog's shock collar. He called me a. I had no other choice. I had a high tolerance for pain in high school. Definitely got tased a bunch because we thought it was funny. I mean, it was funny, but it was dumb. Running into doors at full speed. Putting staples in my stomach. I was dumb. Steve-O was extremely popular for starting to do those same things in his youth. Edit. A word. I stopped using an electric fence for my dogs after I accidentally zapped myself once. I spent the next week apologizing and giving out unlimited numbers of treats. The cinnamon challenge. I've always been good at those weird food challenges, so I did it pretty easily. But some people really yucked up their lungs trying it. My sister-in-law did this and now she's allergic to cinnamon. Never realized how many things have cinnamon before then. I'm allergic to cinnamon too. I never saw anybody else. So yay. Sad thing is I used to be a baker. Went to pastry school and everything. Also, autumn is my favorite season. Pumpkin spice everything. All the things: pumpkin pie, apple pie, cinnamon rolls, apple cider, cinnamon scented everything for 3-4 solid months. From autumn till after Christmas sucks. BC they have fucking cinnamon scented pine cones at every store entrance, and for some reason a store study I learned had them recently a few months after Christmas. Cinnamon Toast Crunch used to be my favorite cereal. I used to make my famous snickerdoodle cookies, buckets at a time for friends and family. I miss cinnamon toast, so simple and delicious. I never had a cinnamon, and I guess I never will. Silver lining: I started baking again last autumn and decided to just make my own pumpkin pie spice on cinnamon. So I still get to have nice autumny foods. I just gotta make them myself. My brother used to say he'd commit suicide by just blowing it in my face. Other brother sent me a Reddit pic of snickerdoodles saying they reminded him of me. BC they'd kill me. Not true, but I'd be very ill. Today my fiance said he'd take a shot of Fireball and kiss me, and just generally start drinking it every night. Meanwhile my mom keeps separate goods for me at her house. Alternate hand soaps, of course hers have some sort of cinnamon, and the autumn Christmas months make apple butter on cinnamon, and just be a generally good lookout to me for added cinnamon in things. Too long didn't read cinnamon allergy sucks. There comes a point in every drunk man's life where he finds himself standing on the edge of a precipice, apartment building roof, staring into the distance at glory, a rocking tree, separated from him by a challenge, or 3-story fall. The weak man will shrug his shoulders, slink back to safety, and carry on with his night as if he never glimpsed what could have been. But the bold, stupid man will look across the chasm and see the greatness that awaits him on the other side. He will stride to the edge, hand off the extra reserve of courage beer that he no longer needs for what must be done. He will stare into the heavens and proclaim into the night, "I can jump that far." It turns out that I could not jump that far. Punched a giant plate glass window out of a jewelry shop in Palm Springs when I was 21. Total drunk D energy. Window slashed my hand wide open, and all I remember is seeing my buddy sprinting away when the store alarm started blaring. My other friend picked me up in front of the store. Blood was literally spraying out of my hand all over his back seat, and he got me to hospital and into ICU. When emergency room doctor pulled out 6-inch needle, I passed out cold. Woke up about 12 hours later with a throbbing headache. Bandages up hand. Finals started the next week and I couldn't write with my left hand, so had to use my right. Also took me a good year to get my dexterity back to play guitar. Total a move on my part. Many hot sauce related things. Drank an entire bottle of Tabasco once. Not the little bottle either, the 20-ounce one. I let a black widow spider bite me to prove that they were venomous but not deadly. I also won a $150 bet. Remained standing through as much taser as possible. My friend used up the battery on himself and said he was trying to get used to it. He said that eventually he would be able to remain standing. I said what the hell and tried. It's not easy fighting electroconvulsive action. We tasted ourselves and each other a bunch of times. I don't think we got better at resisting it. I say taser bit, I really mean stun gun, no prongs. Tell me more about tasting yourselves. Crushing beers on my forehead. Still stupid. I'll still do it. Drank a ridiculous amount of alcohol for my body weight to show off to a date. She had to drive herself back to her town, with my FWB that joined us for the night in the passenger seat, and me dying in the back of my own vehicle from a rotten case of alcohol poisoning. Never fucking again. Not surprised she wasn't into me after that. Hell, I wouldn't be into me after that. Hold up. You had a FWB in a car with a date at the same time? Ate 2% of my body weight in chicken nuggets. Similarly, got high one night, ordered 4 20-piece McNuggets. Think I got to 52 before puking, then tried to eat more after that. Haven't really had McNuggets since. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for 3 videos a day.